couple of weeks ago, I interviewed DreamWorld's lead designer and got some answers I didn't expect. Hi everyone, I'm here with Zach Kaplan from DreamWorld, co-founder and lead developer, I guess. Is that right, Zach?
No. I am a co-founder and lead designer, lead creative.
Lead designer. All right. Thanks for the clarification. Now, Zach, I'm going to ask you about the game's roadmap, about modding, about creative mode, about who you're targeting, but also about the murky past. Will you answer?
Sure.
Great. You know, when Kyle sent me the email, I had no idea what DreamWorld is. And my first reaction was, this is phishing or something, because my channel is so small. Why would this guy be interested in my channel? But then I said, okay, do what you always do. Go ahead and research the thing by yourself. Don't click on any link in whatever email you got. And I downloaded the installer and I started playing. DreamWorld was in an open for all Alpha 2 stage. I didn't go into detail about the negative reaction to the game's Kickstarter in my previous video. I don't want to go into details. There were other videos, and the video with the devs respond, I thought it was great.
Thank you.
I really don't see any reason to go deep into this, but I do want to put all this history to rest and just, ask, how long has it been since the Kickstarter?
I think just over 3 years.
Just over 3 years. And you've been developing ever since, right?
Oh, yes. Every 6 days a week for 153 consecutive weeks now. We have put out so just under 3 years, I guess. We have put out weekly releases with new content and new updates every Friday for 153 weeks.
Wow, that is really, really impressive. I mean, I've been a developer for many, many years. Actually, a developer since 1982. When I said I'm an old geezer, I meant it.
That's you were programming since more than a decade before I was born.
That's just fine. Being a programmer for many years, I know how difficult it is. And this really, for me, the way you remember this like that just shows how much love you have for this and how much dedication. Next question. How many developers are there today?
I think developers specifically, we are at around 12 to 15, though it does fluctuate a good deal. And altogether, the company is around 20 people.
Do you see this game more of a building game or more of an RPG game?
Currently building, for sure. So what we did before the Kickstarter was determine that we wanted to go after building as sort of the foundational structure of what DreamWorld is. Because we want to get to the place where people are utilizing DreamWorld as their place they can come to get whatever is inside their heads out into visual and experiential for other people. And that sort of edges into the other core tenet, which is we want DreamWorld to be as multiplayer as possible, because we recognize that creatives, people who really love building, for example, in Minecraft, really love being able to show off their work.
I think you should give kudos to Kyle. I mean, he literally figured me out. I'm a builder at heart, and this is it. This is what I love to do. And I love to show off stuff that I can do.
Creatives really love being able to show off their work. And that's evidenced by the fact that the most amount of content for any specific topic on YouTube is Minecraft building. So if you look at all of the videos on YouTube ever made, not cat videos that's leading the pack, though you might think it would be, it's building videos from Minecraft. And so it's clear to us that creatives want to show off the things that they're making. And so we want to give them the best scaffold to be able to do that. And that is just offering the most amount of easy to use and high depth building tools, and also the ability for as many people as possible to come in and experience the things that people build with them.
I see that. The fact that you can upload an image directly from the game is so amazing. This is so exactly what you said. People want to show off. So what's the roadmap? What are the big things that are coming, and when do you think?
Generally speaking, the roadmap is we want to make sure that we get performance squared away, most of all, to make it so that older and older computers can get into DreamWorld and play DreamWorld easily and with high FPS. We want to make sure that we don't lose a significant portion of people, especially who've been playing Minecraft for a long time, because Minecraft doesn't require high-end computers to be played. In fact, you can play it on mobile. So we want to make sure that we get our FPS and performance in line. Another thing that we're going to be focusing on is the progression experience. So there are a lot of people who come to DreamWorld who are not Minecraft people, who are Valheim people, who are Genshin people, Ark survival, and they don't see a clear path and purpose. And while that's somewhat intended, we want to capture the people who have loved Minecraft for many years now, coming in and seeing another blank canvas, this time that looks a bit more realistic, a lot more realistic, and feel the same kind of thing that they felt with Minecraft. It's like the world's totally open to them. If they want, they can fall into the world, onto the spawn path, and just jump right off the back and go run to wherever they want to go and not follow the path that we've given. And while we want to have that, we also want to serve the people who are coming in from Valheim and Ark and these other games, and give them the clear path. Give them the, hey, there are monsters that you need to go fight. Here's how to go after them. And that kind of call to action would be effective in Valheim, for example. Even just spawning you in the middle of some rune stones that told you, yo, there are monsters all over the place. And if you want to become the most powerful warrior, you got to go and fight them in succession. That is a very good call to action. And we want to replicate that, but in our own way, and provide the progression experience through tools and gear and weaponry and spells and building that will support the progression through bosses, for example, being a really fun and unique experience that is uniquely DreamWorld. So those are the two high-level things that we're going after most within the next 4 to 6 month period, probably.
Wonderful. Do you intend to support mods?
I would love to. Let me speak to the technical understanding I have, which is limited, of how that would work. So within this space that is code-wise departed from the rest of the world, you can augment these things, but not these things. And I'm not sure how that separation, but
I think it's enough to say right now that there are plans, and we'll get to there, because it's not in the next 6 months. I guess we're waiting for that anyway. The important thing is to know that there is a plan.
I really appreciate you said that, because I try in these conversations to give more information so that I'm not just, it doesn't seem like I'm just sort of sweeping it under the rug and be like, oh yeah, we've got plans for mods and stuff like that, but I can't give you any details right now. I don't want to give that answer. I want to try and give you some more meat, but I appreciate you giving me a high level that's acceptable.
That's perfect. The one thing that really makes people anxious, I guess, when listening to you and to others from DreamWorld speak about the game is if you overpromise, and you said you definitely want to, you thought about it, it's not finalized. I understand. There's one question that bugs me, and that is that in almost every game, flying is usually overpowered, right? It's really not something that you want people to have very early in the game. Are you going to change the mechanics of how people are able to fly?
We are going to strive to make it so that you are able to get smelted white crystal, which is the resource that you need to fly in DreamWorld, far enough into the game that you as a player feel like it was an achievement to get, and also that feels like it came soon enough. Because with the world being infinite, there's a lot of ground to cover, but we want to create that nice progression experience where you're walking and sprinting everywhere. You get more stamina, so now you can sprint farther, and then all of a sudden you get your first mount, and that feels really good. And then you learn how to fly, and that feels really good.
Right.
But it's not something that you have forever, so that you have to go back and keep increasing your stores of that resource. But we will try to tune it such that it's not OP and it's not frustrating.
Understood. What about a skill tree or other ways to unlock more building parts other than just finding them or killing NPC monsters?
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. So one of the things that we do want to do alongside the progression experience is make it so that we hit at least the Valheim baseline, let's call it, of skill progression, which is similar to what we have right now. So if you were to open up your inventory and go to the little ham hock icon next to your craft on person, you'll see there's agility, block, melee, archery, and those go up as you do those things. So agility, for example, will go up as you're just moving around the world. That's very similar to the Valheim experience, and we want to make sure that we hit that well, and then we'll definitely dive into increasing skills in lots of different, let's call them professions, for example. We do want it to be robust, but we're probably months off from that.
Right. Is there a plan to introduce something like race, more RPG-like stuff?
Gotcha. Yes. So ultimately, we would love to have as many different types of characters for you to be in the world as there are in Ready Player One. So you can be whatever you want, but it will take us some time to get there.
One thing that bothers me with the game is that there are all kinds of quirks in the procedural generation. For example, I'm standing here and what I have is literally a river that doesn't flow, of course.
Hello.
Hey there. Good to see you in the game.
Good to see you, sir.
So this thing is one of the quirks. This water here, it's like it's almost as if it's solid, right? It doesn't move, of course.
Correct.
And it doesn't behave the way you expect from water.
Yep.
Now, do you have plans to fix something like that, or is that going to be a quirk that's going to be in the game forever?
Absolutely have plans to fix this. So let me tell you exactly what this is. In Minecraft, you may have experienced that their water has offshoots, pieces that will be extrapolated from a source, if it's a source block for water, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And so they will propagate outwards from the source block and flow down.
Okay.
That, if you watch when you load into a Minecraft world, is very slow. It is maybe a primitive form of simulation, but not as elegant as something like Unreal Engine's Fluid Flux.
Okay, well, if this is going to be fixed, but I have to ask, what if somebody built something and took advantage of this fact and the way that the water behaves here, and when you fix it,
mm-hmm.
there'll be no water where they built something, right?
Mm-hmm. So one of the things that we know is very important to our player base, and we're trying to work with them on, is right now DreamWorld is not complete, as is readily understandable. And we want to keep making changes to DreamWorld that are going to be exciting for our players, and also things that a lot of players are calling out that they want changed. And so with a change like the water, what we would do is probably like a month or two beforehand, we would reach out to the community and say, hey, if anybody has created builds that are specifically near the water as it is currently, we are going to change it to this and show off what this is. And hopefully it's something that they've already been hoping we would change it to. And we will absolutely work hand in hand with the community to make sure that their builds don't get completely destroyed because of this change. We've done that prior to now, where we've said, hey, we're going to make these topographical changes. We're going to work with you to move your builds. And a lot of the time people are very receptive.
Excellent. Because there are other things that are definitely requiring of fixes, all kinds of procedural generation. I know I've made some suggestions in the past, but another suggestion for the part set catalog is the building parts belong to sets. Mm-hmm. For the Elysium set, the cottage set, and I would love to have a different tab in the build catalog for each set.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Imagine that I had the cottage set, the first part I find from the cottage set, the cottage set tab appears in the build catalog with that part unlocked, and every other part that exists in the set already shown, grayed out or something. That gives me an incentive to say, oh, I want to go and find that part.
You got it. Absolutely.
Thanks. That'll be awesome to see it in the game. Number of bases, just 4 reliquaries. Mm-hmm. Just about everybody builds one base on the floating island. Mm-hmm. I don't know, for me, it's hard to let go of that base, Maybe find some resource that lets you build another reliquary, and it's hard to get, really hard to get.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Yeah, so we would want to probably tie you getting more reliquaries to use to some form of building progression. So maybe it's you have put these 4 reliquaries down, 1 in each of the 4 biomes present. I don't want to use terminology that isn't yet in use in game.
Did you catch that? I missed it in the interview. Terminology not yet in use in game. Gosh, I wish I had asked about this.
I don't want to use terminology that isn't yet in use in game to describe how the world is structured, but your 4 reliquaries are 1 in each of the biomes that are available to you right now. And you have progressed to some form of base building within each of them that is specific to that biome. And once you've done that, you get the unlock of another reliquary that you can bring to another biome. And every biome that you conquer, you can get another reliquary.
I love it. Here's another thing I encountered. So I'm standing now in front of this half wall, and I'm going to duplicate it right here. Okay. And the problem is that I don't see the selection. And if I select this wall now, the only hint I have that there is something else that's still selected is the fact that it's yellow and not green.
Right.
Like when I'm looking back, I can see the original one. But if I'm not looking back, and this happened to me many, many times, oh, I put this in the wrong place. If I destroy it now, I can hear in my headphones and look back and, oh boy, I destroyed the other one as well.
Yep.
One solution is, after paste, if you select something else, it replaces the selection. You could limit this to only happen if you can't see the selection when you select the new item.
I like it.
What do you think?
Absolutely. We have spent a lot of time designing and implementing our building system, and still there are things that are problems with it to find like this. And I really appreciate you calling this out. And this is the kind of feedback that we are actually really hoping for. So,
oh, you're gonna get plenty of that from me. And you know, the fact that I know that I have your ear.
Thank you.
I also realize that some of the things that I'm asking for are going to be difficult, maybe near impossible. I don't know.
I love that. I actually would love for the solution, the proper solution here, to be a UI-based solution. So like something that I think might be helpful and we would probably try first to test out is, you know how sometimes in like Call of Duty or some game like that, you'll get a peripheral motion showing you an arrow, like you just got shot from behind you to your left. We would probably want to show something like that. Your selection is still back here.
Yeah.
And see whether or not that kind of indication is sufficient.
Understood. Creative mode, question mark?
Yes. The answer is yes. So I've wanted what I call the creative interface since the beginning of the project. And basically what it would be is a bench that you can go to at your base. And you interact with it and you get sucked into an instanced world of your own. And it's a very large space. It's probably the size of an entire biome, and you can build whatever you want in there. It's specifically the top topography and biome that you are in when you enter that interface. And so you can build whatever you want to in there, unlimited resources, and there's a counter somewhere in that UI that shows you what resources you've used and how many. And
hey, pin the list of resources that you need to acquire to do that.
Right. Yes. Once you exit that, you have saved whatever you've built there, and you can place a ghost version of that in the world and come back to your reliquary and just feed it the resources that it needs to come to fruition.
I have to tell you, you telling me this gave me a little bit of goosebumps because I love the idea. The idea is just gorgeous. I love it. All right, this session has been an eye-opener in some ways, and I'm so happy I did this. Thank you very much, and I think this game definitely already deserves to be nominated for Labor of Love, which No Man's Sky has been nominated in the past. And by the way, when I look at what has happened with this game, there are so many parallels to No Man's Sky, except that No Man's Sky got the negativity after it came out.
Thank you for the comparison. What they've done with No Man's Sky is absolutely incredible.
It is.
And I think in a lot of ways, when that was all happening, I was very impressed and inspired by No Man's Sky as well. So yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Zach. And we'll see each other in-game again and in my videos. So this was the interview I had with Zach. And let me just answer some obvious questions here. So am I excited about this game? Very much. And why? For starters, it feels like there's a community being created in Discord and in-game when multiple players are online. I've created a storage chest and left resources for others and shared locations of interesting and important things. This, for me, is the core requirement in a multiplayer game, and it looks like on the right track. I've reported issues and the devs have responded. Field of view slider was being reset all the time. It's fixed. I can build beautiful things, but I also have to work for them a bit. I hope I am going to be with this game for the long run, and I hope this game is here for the long run as well. GoodGuysFree here saying goodbye, and thanks to Zach and the team, and everyone on DreamWorld's Discord. Remember to hit like, and I'll see you again soon.